Well, welcome back everybody to another edition of the online program for the Sunshine Coast Health Center up here in beautiful Powell River, BC. And last week we were talking about these strategies that people use to pursue their goals. And last week we talked about the avoidance strategy. So I will pursue what I want out of life, which is not to suffer, and I will do this by doing things that will avoid the risks of suffering. Okay? And we mentioned last week that as useful a tactic as that is, a useful strategy as that is, it may not really lead you to living the kind of life that you truly want. The other thing that we've noticed from research, and we've talked about this on the online program before, is that it's generally considered not good enough to avoid what you don't want out of life. What you need to do is to start pursuing what you do want out of life. And a lot of psychologists now are beginning to think that this may be an essential feature of leading the good life. So for example, if you're in recovery from addiction, if you spend all your time avoiding what you don't want, which is generally getting loaded and ending up hitting bottom again, then you may not live such a great life. It may in fact be better if, in addition to all of those avoiding going into the bar, avoiding slippery places, avoiding using buddies, avoiding all that stuff, in addition to avoiding all that stuff, you start pursuing what you truly want out of life, whatever that is. For some people it may be a relationship, for some people it may be a new job, for some people it'll be getting back together with their family. I mean, who knows? It's an individual thing. But the idea is to pursue this because it's what you truly want out of life. And the research is actually fairly good now, and it's growing like wildfire, by the way, that pursuing these things that you want out of life it can in fact be even more powerful than avoiding the stuff you don't want. Yeah, it's kind of interesting now. And we've done some research on addictions, by the way, on this very point. So this idea of this strategy of avoidance is useful, but may not work in the end all that good. So for example, my example last week of the fellow who's had 6 bad relationships, and people cheated on him and he can't trust them and just hurt terribly, and so makes the decision, well, I will avoid relationships because it's just too dangerous to get these deep feelings again. Now, if they were pursuing what they truly wanted out of life, if they were approaching things that they want out of life, they would probably say something like, well, what I truly want is a wonderful, loving relationship. But also I recognize that along the way there are risks. Maybe I'll get into another bad relationship, I don't know. But there are risks, but that's not going to stop them from pursuing the goal. In other words, they're not going to use the avoidance strategies, they're going to use this approach strategies, or it's also called personal striving. Okay, and psychology is getting pretty clear on this, that this is a necessary part of what we need to do. So at any rate, we'll be back next week with another edition.